2, and I would like to call the meeting to order. Before we get into the agenda though, because we don't have our name tags and we do have some guests today, I will do the introductions. I have Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Strang, Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Horvis, Councillor Belanger, Councillor Spicer, and myself, Debbie Fiegelkorn, the Mayor. We also have with us our CAO, Deepak Joshi. We have our Planning Assistant, Heather Stanek, and we have our Finance Officer, Shannon Plushke, with us this afternoon. So with that, I will ask our CAO to please read the resolution for the adoption of the agenda.
Resolved, the agenda for the meeting be adopted and circulated with noted additions. Communication for action, North Selkirk School Division Town Hall meeting. And another communication for information, 10.7.1 Coalition Save Lake Winnipeg.
Okay, moved by Councillor Bazarowicz, seconded by Councillor Horvis. Any other additions or deletions to the agenda today? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, confirmation of the minutes. We have two sets of minutes. We have our regular council meeting of March the 9th and our special council meeting of March the 2nd. If you want to read the resolution for that, please, Mr. Deepak.
Resolved, the minutes of March 9th, 2021 regular meeting of council and March 2nd, 2021 special meeting of council be adopted as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Strang, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any discussion? Corrections? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, we have a delegation this afternoon. We have Landis Leckie with us from Rbc, Royal Bank, and he has a presentation that he would like to go over with us today. And I'm not sure if Deepak, if you wanted to add anything. I think Landis said he sent you the PowerPoint that he had, so
Yes,
are you just going to switch chairs there?
Exactly. We will switch chairs and I'll set up the PowerPoint to start. And Mr. Lopetsky's here to discuss the Royal Bank services. As you know, we passed amending bylaws for some borrowing that we'll be using the Royal Bank for rate, but we're also looking at some of the other services that come along with it. And Landis is here to talk about some of those services. And I'll hand it over to Landis.
Okay, perfect. You can just move over if you like. Do you want that sanitized before you move?
I'll stay here.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and we mix up our spots. And, so it's nice and easy and all good. So,
Just nod to me when you want me to.
no, really, no, you get a nod. So yeah, Landis Leckie, I've been with Royal Bank just over 8 years. I've been in finance about 14 years altogether. I'm a general commercial account manager, so I kind of look after clients in the southeast segment of Manitoba, all the way from Steinbach, all the way up past Selkirk, etc. So it's a pretty wide swath of businesses. Most businesses that I deal with typically run assets, anywhere from $1 million to $120 million. So we have a pretty wide range that we look after. I deal with a lot of public sector clients, so I specialize in the public sector industry and a very good understanding and working knowledge of how the public sector side goes. So you guys go to the next page. I'll just run through. Thank you. So effectively, who we are, RBC obviously is one of Canada's largest banks, as well as North America's. We provide personal, commercial services, wealth management, insurance, etc. as far as our products and services. So it's a pretty large offering that we have. We are 80,000 employees worldwide, serving 16 million clients in 38 different countries. So it's a pretty big company. We've got a lot of resources behind what we do. But the key point that I want to make to you guys is, locally we are a team of people serving local clients in our local communities across Manitoba. So, we all live and play in these different communities, and our personal lives as well as our business lives intersect in many different communities across Manitoba. Just on a personal note, I'm very engaged in minor hockey, so some of you, I may have run into some of you may have yelled at me over the years, as I referee hockey across the Southeast Medical Park. So, just one way that we do that. Our strategies for success, effectively, is rooted in our commitment to clients and communities. Our values center around earning the right to be our client's first choice and holding ourselves to the highest standards of integrity, becoming your trusted advisor. Our commitment to corporate citizenship, effectively, is an approach to business in which we work to make a positive impact within our communities, within our environments, society, etc. And our employees engage in community through many different volunteer opportunities. We have days of service that the bank puts on, where we go out to communities and we do projects with not-for-profits and other groups and stuff like that, as well as personal and corporate donations. In 2020, our total amount of money that we donated ended up being $12.4 million to Manitoba communities. So, there's a pretty significant impact in our local stuff and the different branches that we use. Any questions?
Questions from council at this point? Not yet?
If you do have one, please just yell it out. It's no problem. I tend to talk a little fast sometimes. So, next page here. So our goal for municipal clients is ultimately to meet the needs of each municipality. While working together with your existing credit union, case, financial institution, as well as the province. We look to seamlessly provide financial services that integrate with your existing administration and whatnot. The goal is to not add extra work. It's to basically utilize exactly what you guys are already putting forward to the province, etc. Right? Doing the work through that side of it. So we're able to leverage a lot of the same information and stuff like that. We provide solutions that ensure security and transparency through a comprehensive system of user permissions and approval rules. So RBC invests a lot of money in technology. We spend billions of dollars in our infrastructure, ensuring that we're protecting our clients from security, fraud, protecting your data and all the other things as we move into the digital world. We're going there whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
And RBC is ahead of the curve in all fronts. As far as our borrowing options, we've got a lot of different borrowing options that we can provide. There's short-term budget financing options for new construction, facility expansions, renovations, and upgrades. Takeout debenture facilities from 5 to 30-year fixed-rate options. We've got line of credit options to support seasonal and cyclical cash flow fluctuations, as well as a commercial credit card program. Currently, the RM is utilizing RBC's credit cards. However, the commercial credit card program is a newer venture that we've allocated. So it gives the municipality more control, gives you a lot more ability to place restrictions on cards, limits, gives you more detailed reporting. So it's really meant to help create that detailed and transparent look at where the finances are going, how things are being allocated. Just to kind of give you a quick advice example, so you look at a medium-sized municipality with a fast-growing population that's looking at infrastructure improvements. Say, for example, a rec center. We would look at an option of maybe doing a short-term interest-only construction facility, or maybe an overdraft or line of credit facility to facilitate the project, get it to completion, and then we would look at a long-term debenture financing facility, potentially through our Rbc Insurance or RBC itself, with a fixed rate term amortization. So typically, just to kind of give you guys a bit of an understanding of how we normally look at construction projects. So as a rule, we typically finance them through a short-term loan or line of credit or overdraft, simply to kind of ease you through the project, right? It relieves stress on your working capital or your cash flow to help you get the project to the end of it. Normally that is structured in a multi-stage interest-only facility, so we need multiple advances, etc. And then as we get to the end of it, then we look to wind the project up in a long-term debenture. So that's kind of the standard. What we're seeing a little bit in today's, in the last couple of months, is municipalities are looking to take advantage of the low interest rate environment. Obviously, we've seen rates dip quite significantly in the last year. Into the 2% range, which is pretty crazy when you start thinking about your financing infrastructure projects. Under 3% in a lot of cases for 20+ years. So it's pretty fantastic offering. And what's happening is some of the projects that the municipalities are either in process on, or some of them are starting, they're borrowing that money up front in some cases to save themselves the long-term cost of lending, right? So we've seen some of that happen. And effectively, what we do in those cases, if we do advance on a project before it's completed, typically what we'll do is we'll put the money into an account, we'll just hold the money, and then as the project moves along through completion, we'll release that money in stages. What it does is it mitigates a little bit of the construction risk and some of that stuff. Any questions on that? Awesome. So far, so good, yeah. So the current project financing that the Rbc implements has right now is obviously for the Merritt Fire Hall that we're currently in. We are doing a debenture takeout facility for 20 years at 2.83%. So we'll be looking to advance that all facilities fully, but that one will have no holds or restrictions on it as the project is completed. The East Selkirk Sewer and Water, as well as the South St. Clements Utility, we'll have those funds allocated to an account at Rbc, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll have that hold on there, and we'll advance those funds as the municipality needs it, effectively allowing you guys to keep a clear account and reconcile what's happening with those projects. Right? Use it clean, it's on an individual project account, and yeah. So effectively, we are at the point of advance. We're very close, as we've been working hard to get there. And it sounds like, yeah, I think we're getting some board approval probably Thursday, and we'll be looking to advance those, I think, either Thursday or potentially Monday or Tuesday. Yeah. So the key, I think the key to that is that you guys are committed to the rate back in October, and you hit the timing perfect because when we got to the end of the rate quote, which was December 31st, rates were still very much exactly the same point as they were in October. They hadn't moved or changed or anything, so we were able to extend that for another 90 days, which was fantastic. Because the current interest rate environment today has moved up already. So I think rates today are sitting in that 3.37 range, and the RM's got it at 2.83%. So it's pretty, basically it's almost $40,000 a year in savings on that difference in that. So timing was perfect and exactly how this thing rolled out. So any questions?
2.5 or 2.4 would be better.
Good luck, sir. Well, when you think about it, you know, you're locking that in for 20 years. That is a fixed rate over a 20-year period. That's pretty unheard of. That's pretty fantastic. So yeah, I agree. 2.4 I wish I could offer it, but
numbers.
What's that?
It's only numbers.
It's only numbers. Yeah, exactly. So let's give you a quick rundown kind of our long-term options. If you wouldn't mind going next one. So Rbc offers basically two ways of financing debentures, equipment, etc. From the term loan side of things. One of them is through Rbc itself. The second one is through our division, which is called Rbc Insurance. So Rbc Insurance is a private placement debt portfolio group. So what they're looking to do is they're looking to align long-term lending projects with low risk into their portfolio so that they can provide value for their investors. So it's kind of a unique product that's been designed. I think Manitoba is probably one of the only provinces that's utilizing it within the bank, and it was kind of tailored specifically for our public sector market. It's something that allows us to compete with the province and other FIs and stuff like that to give you guys rates that are really low as far as that goes. We're not always the lowest. I mean, you know, the way we source our money is all based on the market fluctuations, and day and timing of everything all makes a difference on whether it's, you know, 2.4, 2.5, 2.7, and where the markets are at. So all of that kind of factors into that. So with our standard Rbc term loans, what we end up doing is typically what happens is it's a floating rate until we lock it in. So we have the option that we can forward fix that for any of the municipal lending and stuff like that. And in that case, what we end up doing in order to forward fix it, we require a small deposit that we hold. Well, I guess it's all relevant to the project. It's probably 4 to 5% of the project value, typically the lending value. And so what we do is we kind of hold that till we forward fix that rate, and then we advance it. So with the Rbc Insurance, we don't need to hold anything because that product allows for us to provide you guys with a rate quote within usually 5 business days of your council meeting. You guys will review it, sign the letter if you guys accept it, and then we can hold it for an additional 60 days to account for getting all the municipal approvals and get the readings done and all the fun stuff that you guys get to do. And in some cases, if we need to, we have a little bit of flexibility to extend it, right? So in this case, we extended it. We originally set it up for 90 days, and then we extended it for an additional 90. So there is some flexibility to do that, but not always, depending on where rates move. If rates had moved the wrong way, then we probably wouldn't have been able to hold that rate for an additional 90 days, because that doesn't line up from the cost side of things for us. So, any questions on any of that?
No, we're good.
Here and now,
So far, yeah.
move to the next page. So some of our working capital options, effectively, we offer line of credit just like your, the standard line of credit that you guys have today. The only difference would be that typically our Royal Bank Prime, we take our prime rate and we minus for our public sector clients, so we discount it. So typically most of our public sector clients would see that discount range anywhere from probably 0.25% to 0.5%. So I don't know the exact number that you guys are paying today at the credit union, but our prime rate would be 2.45. If you're taking off, a quarter point, then you're looking at 2.2. So, as you guys run through projects and other stuff, there could be some substantial savings on that, depending on what your current rate is and what it's fluctuating at. Loans, we kind of just talked about that a little bit. And loans, we do the same thing. So if we're doing it for equipment and other stuff, typically we'd be at Royal Bank Prime minus for short-term options. So if it's 1 to 5 years, if it's the longer-term options, it's priced out accordingly based on the length of term that we're doing it for. We do offer leasing as well. We have an in-house leasing division that allows for our clients to purchase equipment and stuff through a leasing component. What that sometimes can do is it can help ease the burden on your capital budget because leases typically would run through your operating budget, I believe. So it can kind of help to offset some of the strain on the capital budget when you guys are doing a lot of projects and stuff and you got to buy equipment in advance and things like that. So there's options around that. And then as far as availability goes, as I said earlier, we try to make it as seamless and easy as possible. So effectively, we're asking for the borrowing bylaws, which you guys are producing anyways, evidence of the borrowing powers. So it's just you guys demonstrating who has signing authority and all that type of stuff. We request financial statements and your annual budget. What we do at RBC is we have a master client agreement, which is basically a letter agreement that defines the signing authorities of municipality and kind of clearly outlines to the bank who can sign for what, who has the ability to look at things. As we move into the next phase, we'll talk a little bit about online banking, and it kind of grants those who has the powers and authority to affect different areas of the online banking. So, one thing that's important to know in public sector, when we are lending, no collateral registration is taken, so everything is supposed to be on what they call a pari passu basis, which effectively has all creditors on equal terms, on the same level. So nobody should really be registering anything against the public sector or the municipality by any of the lenders, because everyone is required to be on the same footing. So. And then we kind of jump into our managing your cash flow. So RBC Express is a premium online banking tool which offers you guys services, offers control, detailed reporting, gives you some insights, and I think one of the important parts, as we talked about earlier, as we move into the digital, and security is really, really important, right? Protecting your data, protecting your people, creating that transparency component. So our core services offers kind of your standard banking services platform with balance reporting statements, the ability to pay bills, account transfers, images, etc. Some of the benefits that this program offers is it really allows you to safeguard your information with state-of-the-art security features. and an electronic audit trail to support good governance. So I think that's really, really important in the municipal sector. Separating banking responsibilities among delegated employees, creating approval rules to limit access to accounts and transaction functions. So that's a critical feature. You know, for example, if you've got an accounts payable clerk, as an administrator, DPAC would have the ability to allow them to only set up and establish functions within the accounts payable side of things. You can set rules and parameters to say if it's under $500, they can just pay it with no further oversight on that bill. If it's over $500,000, they need a secondary signer. It will allow the administrator then to assign who that secondary signer is, so you have clear oversight on that. For transactions at a certain level, you know, that secondary signer might have to be back. It might have to be someone, you know, one step removed. You know, maybe Shannon's doing that. Whatever level that you guys determine to be your comfort level with that and aligns with your authority.
So if I could just add to that,
Yeah.
that's also electronic approvals
Yes.
that goes along with it, so it doesn't have to be all paper-based. So you can automate that process.
Yeah, through our RBC Express, everything is electronic, so it's really seamless in that regard. So for example, let's say Shannon's working on something, and she puts together a payment, she needs a secondary signer. Deepak's not in the office, he's at home or he's at a convention or something. She could send the payment to him. He could pop onto his phone, he could log in, and he could approve the payment right then and there. So it's really seamless in that regard, while still providing you guys with the full security. And
That just has to fix the camera.
yeah, to return. Effectively, the function of it is saving you time, money, and mitigating risk. That's really what the platform is designed to do. So ACH direct deposits. So the core services is your standard functionality within there. We've got a lot of add-ons to it. I've highlighted about 6 different ones that I think are good fits for municipality. We do have a lot of other ones at times. There's wires modules, there's FX modules, there's a lot of different things. So it's kind of an a la carte system. So if you have this core services, but then you can add on different functions based on what the needs are. So it's effectively saving you the money on not having everything because it's a pretty big suite of products. ACH direct deposits allows you to electronically disperse payments in Canada for next day receipt. I think the real important piece with that one is it's same day. When you guys put through a file, effectively that file goes through same day. So for example, your payroll, if you put your payroll in this morning or this afternoon, it would go through this evening, overnight. So all of your staff would get paid basically same day. Is kind of how it works. So effectively there's no payroll delays. So it's really nice in that regard. You can set them up to a couple, you can actually set it up, I believe, up to almost a year in advance if you really wanted to. But it gives you the ability, typically most people will set them up a couple days in advance. So it's ready to go and the file just moves through on that date. One of the nice things about ACH direct deposits, it's really helping to mitigate the reduce of check fraud. Check fraud is something that's really becoming more and more prevalent. And one of the reasons why the electronic component is actually saving a lot of companies a lot of money because as checks go through the mail and they get people take them or steal them or whatnot, there's a big impact to the municipality, to the cash flow, to the timing. I had one entity that was doing everything through checks, and there was people in BC, people in Eastern Canada that somehow got a hold of their information and were writing checks on their account. So RBC obviously flags that and protects that, so we reimbursed them for the money on that. And then we made some changes to their system so that it was protecting them. But ultimately, check fraud is something that is out there, and it's an easy target for a lot of guys. Crooks and stuff that are looking to make some money. There's a lot of detailed reports, data files from RBC for each payment that's completed. And the nice thing about it is your payments will arrive on time. unlike checks and stuff that can be delayed in the mail. So for example, if you've got a certain date that you need to make your payments on, so that you can take advantage of a supplier discount or something like that, you can file that within a couple of weeks to note that on the 31st that payment's going to go through, and you guys will get your discount. When you send the check in the mail, it'll postmark it for the 31st, but your supplier won't receive it potentially for up to a week or longer, right? So it kind of gives you a little bit more control of your cash flow and you get more of a timely fashion. Online tax filing allows you to securely make payments to government agencies supporting remittances information. So effectively, it's efficient in remitting payroll source deductions and other government remittances directly. It's available online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and effectively no checks to mail, saving you time, cost, and keeping it nice and clean and easy. ACH Direct Payments is a collection, electronically collect payments from customers, so it allows you to move money easily and securely from other financial institutions or credit unions, etc. Reduce losses due to NSF payments because the payments are electronic now. It saves you more time and it's easier to reconcile and clean up. There's also an optional service with NSF payments. So if someone sends you an electronic payment that's NSF, the service will within 20 days allow you to go back and retry collect it. So it's a pretty neat function. I think that would definitely make life a little easier on those checks that don't go the way they need to.
I have a question on that one.
Yeah.
So if you collect these, let's say we're using two banking institutions, okay?
Yep.
So you collect, and then do you automatically transfer to our other banking institution with our permission, or how does that work?
You guys would look after all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, you are in full control of your money.
Right.
So we wouldn't determine when and where it moves. You guys would do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've done a lot in, ultimately we understand that, most municipalities have a credit union or a case account, right? So you're dealing at that institution. They don't have the infrastructure that we have to support all of the stuff that we can do. They can't quite get to the lending rates that we can get to. And same thing with your managing cash flow and all the other stuff. They don't have the infrastructure set up, right? Their online banking platform is very basic and very simple, very clean and simple. Ours is quite integrated with a lot of security features and functionality. So we make it easy in that regard. What I often recommend to my clients and stuff is let's set up the day-to-day functionality, all of that stuff, but leave your savings at the credit union or the case. It does two things. One, it gives you guys the ability to manage your cash flows and stuff much more efficiently and effectively, but it also allows you to meet that community requirement, or a lot of guys feel that they want to support the local, and the local credit unions run on savings. So money that's deposited to local credit unions is what allows them to function and operate, and to be able to get the liquidity to borrow money out for personal mortgages and loans and other stuff. So having the reserve accounts and your savings there does two things. It really supports your local credit union or case, allows them to continue to function and operate, and it also gets you a higher interest rate because the way they use your money, they pay you differently as far as the savings rates. So in a lot of cases, I can't beat the credit union or case on savings rates most of the time because our business model is structured differently than theirs is. So we don't rely on deposits to operate. Our money we get from the bond markets and whatnot. So it's a little bit of a different structure. So that's often what we do with a lot of our clients is we'll have a shared, basically it's a shared relationship, right? So you'll have some there, they'll have some with us. Through our process, you have the ability to pull money from your account at the case or credit union if you need to move money over. And then for sending money back the other way, you have the ability either through electronically send it, or you can take checks and write checks out and move it that way if you need to replenish reserve accounts and stuff like that. So, any other
Anybody else
questions?
have any questions or comments?
Okay. Moving on.
Yes.
One of the nice options that we've developed is we have a piece of equipment. It's called a check throw scanner. It allows you to securely deposit checks the same day processing from your office. So Shannon can be in their offices. This machine's in their office. They can literally take the checks, scan them through. all the money's deposited the same day, up till 7 p.m. that night. So it allows you to get your cash into the bank very easily and seamlessly, without having to go to the actual credit union of the bank and stand in line and wait and do all that stuff. It's super simple in that regard. So it saves you, increases staff productivity, saves money because you're not making the trips. It also saves you money because you don't require the checks in that regard because everything's electronic. So, and one of the other nice features of that is it gives a very clear ability to reconcile check deposits with 3 deposit note fields. So it allows you to capture specific information within that as well. So it's really efficient in that regard. Corporate Creditor is another metric that we have. It's a product that's available for you guys to utilize to collect your money from your customers. It allows you to improve your business processes with an accurate view of payment information and automatic concentration of funds. It reduces posting errors and eliminates NSF checks and some of the other stuff. So what Corporate Creditor effectively is it's a product that integrates into your day-to-day banking. So just like when you log onto your online banking, you go to pay your hydro bill or you pay your telephone bill, you can have it set up that the RM would be in that list of bill payments that your customers could pull from and be able to pay you directly that way as well. So that's another function and feature of how that operates. It's, as we move to that digital world, that's a lot of companies are moving in that direction because it's just simpler and easier for people to pay. That way they're not putting on their credit cards or other stuff. They're able to run that right through their bank accounts. Interactive transfer, auto deposits, another option. So for you guys, as you move down that electronic path, a lot of our clients are going to want to pay via interactive transfer and whatnot. We're seeing a lot of that happening as well. So that allows you guys to have an account set up basically where they'll transfer it and it automatically goes into your account. There's a detailed field that'll have their name, and then there's also the option for them to put notes, so they can put their roll number or whatnot in their note when they're sending that transfer to you guys as well, so you can reconcile that a little bit easier. So, and next page is effectively kind of that commercial expense card program that I touched on a little bit. It's through a platform called NextLogic, and what it does is allows you to order and cancel cards, change your card limits in real time, set temporary limits. So for example, let's say the RM has a total limit of $50,000 and you had a large payment that needed to be made. You've got 10 cards, you can take and pool all the limits onto one card. So if you needed to buy a piece of equipment for 50 grand, he could, or work for supplies or whatever, he could literally pool the limits, make that payment, and then apply the payment to the card and then disperse the limits back to each counselor's card or whoever you guys have the cards allocated out to. You can also you can also establish transaction spend limits by amount and time period. So to limit your if you've got staff that are working in utilities or something and they gotta go buy gas, you can limit the time frames that they can do that. You can limit the products that they can buy. You can block certain stores or certain places so that there's no chance of anything happening in that regard. So those are some of the key benefits of the commercial expense card program. The reporting side of it is effectively at an individual and company level, so it's very clean reporting. It's similar to what it is now. So it's tied to each individual employee. You guys have a clear report on that one. It's the same points program that's set up as well, so nothing's really different on that end of it either. The points roll up, and you guys probably have it roll up to one main card, and then from there you guys can either utilize those points for hotel stays or other expenses and stuff like that, gift cards, etc., whatever you guys need to do to allocate that off for covering off expenses and other things. So it's pretty flexible. You can drill down and search by employee, supplier, or merchant group in this program. You can export to Excel and other formats, CSV and PDF formats as well. And you can set up events and alerts. So if you want to keep tabs on cards and stuff like that, you can have those alerts set up that it'll trigger the administration if all of a sudden something's not going the way it needs to, or someone's not using it the way it needs to. It would give them those alerts and stuff. So effectively, it reinforces the expense policy through controls and tracking, reducing manual work to consolidate, analyze, and export transaction data. And the nice thing about the card program is it still maintains all the comprehensive travel insurances and extended product warranties and stuff that are on the cars, so everything is exactly as it is now. So if you're buying computers and stuff, it'll extend the warranties just like it does now if you're doing trips and stuff. As long as it's paid for on that card, even if you have multiple people with you. So let's say 3 of you went to a show, only one of you had the card. If you paid for the trip with that card, it would protect all 3 trips and stuff like that. So it's pretty good program in that regard. Effectively, the team at RBC. So I am the relationship account manager. So I kind of look after the whole relationship. I look after the lending, all the key functionality of the relationship overall. I also am supported by a team, so I have an associate account manager. Her name is Cherise. She's absolutely wonderful. And she assists me with a lot of the account setups and some of the behind the scenes stuff that I don't have time to do when I'm meeting with clients like I am today. We also have a cash management specialist. Her name is Bonnie LaPointe. So there's other people that kind of form as part of my team, but ultimately I look after the whole relationship with you guys, and I leverage out my team to make sure that we cover off every single thing that's needed for our clients. So that's kind of how we run that through. We have some external partners as well, obviously Rbc Leasing, as well as Group Advantage. Our Group Advantage program is effectively a savings plan, program, pension plan, etc., as well as a wellness program for financial services for your employees. So there's, as part of the package, we can roll that out to all of your employees as well to ensure that they're getting the financial advice and solutions, all of the stuff that comes along with that. So from personal mortgages to lines of credit, to credit cards, to budgets, to invest in your savings plan money and stuff like that as well. So then we've got some external partners as well. But that's basically the gist of it. So.
Okay, I'm going to open it up. Anybody have any questions or comments on the services that they are able to provide? I'm not sure Deepak may want to add something to the presentation, but.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. What I'd like to sort of stress is that we asked lenders to come in. Not only are we looking at utilizing the services of lending services from the Royal Bank, but we're also looking at taking advantage of some of these other services. We're looking at putting our new loans that we're going through these major capital projects to run them through that bank accounts, and what that does is give us opportunities. Some of these other services, which will then deal with the level of accountability that council has been seeking, as well as the level of open and transparency. And I think what it's opening up the door for is to move to more of to the electronic world, as our citizens are beginning to ask for that level of service that we've been difficult to provide under the current circumstances. And as COVID is occurring, I think this is the perfect time to start exploring these. So as we go further into this, I'll bring forward motions of council as we adopt all these. But I think as a perfect example of credit cards, having that level of transparency and having that ability to be able to produce reports on any given time gives council the ability to be able to ask those tough questions when necessary of the administration and get an answer as quickly as possible.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I was just going to say electronic banking, I think is going to be a big one for our RM too, especially at tax time and with COVID, but people aren't coming out to the office.
For sure. Just to give you guys an indication of how things have shifted in the last couple of months. At RBC in March of 2020, we were running through 30,000 transactions a day as far as people making trades in their investment portfolio. Fast forward, into April, May, we saw that number jump from 30,000 to 300,000. So the level of electronic transactions, I think we were all kind of slowly moving in that direction, and I think a lot of us have been forced to move a lot faster in that direction, just based on the environment that we've been in over the last 12 months and how challenging that's been for a lot of people. And I think the ability to pay the electronics component, I don't even visit a branch. I do everything electronically. It's absolutely fantastic. And with COVID and stuff, I work at the branch, but I haven't had to step foot in the branch in the last year because I can do everything electronically. Pretty much every function, and it's just as this grows more and more, they're building up more and more capability and more functionality within that, as well as security, right? I mean, that's one of the key things that a lot of people are concerned about is the security piece. And as I alluded to earlier, you know, the paper fraud thing is still significantly out there. It's huge. So the check fraud piece is really, really big. It's one that we deal with quite often. I have yet to come across one. Anything on the banking side of it, on account or through our Rbc Express, we've not come across one yet where I've had an issue with fraud on that side of it. Credit card fraud is something else that we experience, right? I mean, I'm sure all of you have traveled at some point in time or whatnot. You're giving your cards out at different places, and sometimes some of those places are a little less scrupulous than other ones. And the nice thing about that is, you know, you can have peace of mind because the bank's protecting you on that. So if your card is compromised, one of the things I didn't mention earlier, I guess, I do have it in the presentation there somewhere, one of the notes, but you know, we have set up a significant series of algorithms and whatnot in the back side of our systems. And what those do is they scan everything for looking for anomalies, looking for, you know, if you're making a payment amount, the system will notify me saying this business is making a payment of X. This looks a little outside of the normal for that business. Please verify the product with the client. It's a simple phone call. I say, hey, Deepak, what's going on? You guys are making a payment of $1 million. Yeah, that's normal. We're paying this supply. Okay, perfect. Right? It's just another metric to help protect you, and it's incredible what that picks up and the level that it you know, our systems catch stuff far sooner than we can catch it, because you know it's the level of detail that those algorithms have is absolutely amazing. So it's really phenomenal. And even on the credit card piece, it's tracking what's normal and what's not normal, and it's giving reporting and stuff. Sometimes you'll notice if ever your card is compromised, you may all of a sudden have your card put on hold, so you can't use your card. And that's an automatic thing. You'll call the credit card company and say, hey, what's going on? And they'll say, hey, we've noticed some transactions happening in this part, but you're here. So we put a temporary hold on it to make sure that you're not getting fraudulently charged, right? So it's, as we move down that path, we're seeing a lot more of that security component, and that's really the key to behind all the technology. So.
Okay, anything else? Do you have anything you want to add at this point?
Very excited with the opportunities, and just wanted to thank Landis for his continued support as we wrestle through the approvals for our loans.
We'll get there.
Yes.
It's all good.
And thank you very much for coming out today. And even though the weather was not so great when you left home, hopefully the ride home will be better. But thank you very much for coming out. And if we have any questions, we'll funnel them to Deepak and he can get a hold of you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Pleasure coming out. It's kind of nice to hear that when you've been working from home for as long as I have. So, and this is your normal part of
Yes.
the business.
Well, we've been working from home quite a bit
Yeah.
too. You know, we've just recently started these in-person meetings. We've had some planning, public hearings that we've had to hold. So that's why we're here, because
Yeah.
it's a little bit bigger space than our council chamber. So it's a little bit easier to social distance and have everybody in the same room. But yeah, we're just getting back into it too. So the face-to-face. I actually got an invitation today for a face-to-face meeting Thursday morning, so, or I could do Zoom. I think I'll do Zoom.
Yeah, some you may still want to.
Yeah,
It's,
exactly.
It's the comfort level with where you're going.
Yes,
to be,
exactly,
right, that all
exactly.
plays into it,
So, well, thank you very much
Yeah,
for
you're very
coming out,
welcome.
and like I say, if we have anything that we need to discuss, we'll make sure that Deepak gets a hold of you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Landis.
Awesome.
Nice meeting you face to face.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Okay, so we don't have any other delegations today, so we're going to move on to the communications for action, and we'll just have a couple there. We have the AMM Spring Convention, and that is on April 14th, 15th, and 16th, I believe it is, for 3 days. And if I remember correctly, there's 7 virtual seminars, and the cost is $25 whether you attend one or all 7. So I'm not sure what Deepak has up there, if it's just a resolution. I know I kind of looked at them, and there's some that I will be attending and others that someone else will probably be more interested in, so.
So I think you've all been given the opportunity for Brad to be able to register all the council members, and I think he would identified which ones they'd like to be registered in. And so today's resolution is to accommodate that. For the resolution and there we go. Result, Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes, go right ahead.
Resolved, council be authorized to attend the AMM virtual convention on April 14th to 16th, 2021.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Rbc seconds. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
We had a quick discussion about possible conflict with budget meetings that week. Have we decided what we're doing here?
Yes, what we were looking at was moving our budget meeting on April 13th to the morning, or sorry, to the April the 12th in the morning, and moving the council meeting on April the 13th to the afternoon. So that'll be done today as part of our resolutions.
Okay, so then the 14th is. Okay,
The 14th, yeah, the 14th is okay then.
So the budget meeting will be on
The 12th.
the 12th on the Monday.
And that will be just in the morning, do you think, or is it all day? Depends how much we want to talk, I know.
I'll prepare for lunch and dinner.
Okay, I believe I had a mover and I had a seconder. If there is no other questions or discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, the next one we have is the Interlake Tourism AGM. And that one is for April the 14th. Nope, April 22nd, sorry. Any questions, comments on that one? There's some information there. I do have it down here as attending. And I'm not sure what the resolution reads, so if you want to bring that up, please do that.
Resolved, Mayor Peeble-Corn and councillors, is there any other councillors interested in attending? And Councillor Strang and
Anybody else want to attend?
The 22nd.
22nd, Thursday the 22nd.
Councilor Rbc, possibly?
I don't think I'm on those committees anymore. I'm not on those.
You're my alternate.
I
On
thought
that
Dave,
one.
I thought Dave was. No?
Wrong day.
Wrong date.
Oh.
That's why when I call you to go, you're like.
Yeah, I'm wondering what you're calling me.
Well, there's no
Support.
cost, there's no cost to that one, so maybe we can just leave it as council, and then whoever wants to zoom in can zoom in. But I'm just not sure about the registration, if they have to give us each have a separate Zoom invite?
I think it's just one piece.
I don't think that there's any specific requirement as the Interlake Tourism.
Yes.
And just one more.
No, it doesn't have to be an invite.
Once you register, I'm assuming that they'll have it on their website.
Right.
That's just a generic ID.
Yeah.
I'm suspecting this is more, since it's an AGM, I suspect it's more of a webinar style as opposed to a Zoom meeting.
Yes, yes. Okay, so if you want to read that resolution then.
Resolved, council be authorized to attend the virtual Interlake Tourism Annual General Meeting on Thursday, April 22nd, 2021.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, Councillor Strang, seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. The next one we have is the Emergency Measures Organization, the Wildlife Preparedness Seminars. And I believe there were 3 different days that you could choose from on that one.
Correct, Madam Mayor. Dates were April 7th, 8th, and 9th.
So that's pretty much next week, next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I think some of us do have something going on the Friday already. I believe that's an AMM seminar that morning. Any interested in attending on the wildfires?
AMM or Macintosh 9:00.
Okay, I said the wrong date. It is the 8th, not the 9th.
No, I think we could.
Oh, some of them are on the 8th and some on the 9th.
But I don't know which Deepak got registered on.
I'd have to check.
I think it's that one.
Pretty sure I'm on the
Pardon?
9th. I'm on the 9th.
You're on the 9th. Mine's on the 9th. Or did you say 9th or 8th?
Well, I got down here 8th.
Well, we'll have to get.
Can we get that confirmed?
Yeah.
Because I believe
Yeah.
that Deepak was just doing the one, and then we were all zooming on yours. I believe
I think
that's
that
what
was
it was.
the intent.
We were just
Oh,
registering.
okay. Well, yeah, because that one was a little bit pricey.
And do you remember that you were finding out if they were giving credits or
Right,
something, but they
right.
didn't, they said
They're
they
not
didn't do
doing
it
that right now, no. So, yeah, maybe confirm that. But I guess if anybody does want to go to this or attend the emergency measures organization, like I say, there's 3 dates.
I have it down as the 9th at 9.
The 9th, oh, the
AMM.
AMM, the 9th at 9. Okay.
Tyler will be one to that.
The wildlife one,
Yeah, no,
or the wildfire one?
emergency measures.
Yeah, probably Tyler and perhaps some of the fire chiefs may be attending too. But it is open to everybody. The invitations is mayors, reeves, councilors, CAOs, coordinators. Then they've invited the First Nations, emergency service personnel, and emergency management stakeholders. Everybody's been invited,
So
so.
you're gonna air that at the R?
This one,
Yeah.
nobody seems to.
Well,
Okay, you don't want to do it from home.
no, I can do it from home now, I guess so.
Might as well do it from home if there's only one counselor attending.
Yeah, that's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Friday we're booked already with the other.
Oh, that's the one I'm talking about, is the Friday one.
The Friday one will be done at the office.
And actually, if I roll down on the invitation, Wednesday, April the 7th is the East/Central Wildfire Management Area.
That's probably the one that.
That will be the one that we should, if anybody is interested, that would be the one that we should be attending, is Wednesday, April the 7th. You got anything on the 7th, or?
No, not right now.
Yeah. You're it. Tyler may be attending, and like I say, maybe perhaps some of the fire chiefs or all of the fire chiefs.
So should we identify Councilor Messerowitz?
Sure. You can leave me in there.
Okay. Resolved, Mayor Piebelkorn and Councilor Messerowitz be authorized to attend the EMO Wildlife Preparedness Virtual Seminar on April 7th, 2021.
Can I have a mover, please? Councilor Strang, Councilor Belanger, seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And that isn't a Zoom, that is a go-to webinar. Okay, the next one we have is the Lord Salford School Division, and this was one that ended up going to all of council, but on my invitation, I didn't see that all of council got it, so I forwarded it to Deepak and asked him to please put it on the agenda, and that was for the invitation for the Lord Salford School Division Town Hall meeting, which is on April the 7th at 7.
And ours said you weren't on ours.
I know, and I didn't get invited, is that what you're saying? No, and I looked at mine, and it was just my name, so I said to Deepak, you better send this, or put it on the agenda, because I'm sure that other council members might want to have a look at it. I didn't have an opportunity yet to look at the website, but apparently all the information about what they're doing is on the Lord Salford School Division website, so if anybody is planning on attending, you might want to look at their website before you zoom in, so. Interest? another one where there's no cost, so do you want to just have it as council?
I think we'll just add it as council, so resolved, council be authorized to attend the virtual town hall meeting on Wednesday, April 7th, 2021.
Can we put on there for the Lord Selkirk School Division Town Hall meeting?
For the virtual town hall meeting for the Lord Selkirk School Division
Right.
on Wednesday, April 7th,
Yeah.
2021.
Perfect, thank you. Moved by Councillor Horvis, second, Councillor Strang, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question, all those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, number 6 on our agendas is the new and under business, and the first item we have is the Interlake Art Board for a grant request, and there's some emails and a picture of the mural, and Deepak, did you want to speak to that, or Councillor Strang, were you going to speak to that, or both of you?
I think
I'll fill in.
Councilor Strang is filling us in on this one. We have received a request to use, to place a large mural, and from my understanding, this is the mural itself, or this is just an example of a mural?
That's an example.
So as an example of a mural, they would be putting on our site that they would work with us on, and the intent is to cover the side of the entire building,
Yes.
and that's the East Selkirk Rec Association building. That's
No,
part of
actually the clubhouse.
The clubhouse.
At
sorry.
Legacy Park, yeah.
At Legacy, the clubhouse at Legacy Park, and the intent is to build it so that even any of the obstructions inside, on top of the building itself would be sort of built into the design of this, and what they're looking for, I think, is a $5,000 grant application. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I think that's what was my estimate from the email, was that they were looking for a commitment of up to $5,000. And a letter of,
I
a
thought
letter
we
of
were,
commitment.
yeah, letter of commitment, going along with, what it is this lady, I'll sort of fill in, after having a conversation with Joan, she's very excited. When I mentioned, and I asked her if they could do something, as we all know we need some kind of signage put up at Legacy Park, and one of their categories is legacy. So she sent that picture of the car show, because that's what they filled in this year for legacy. And it's not quite finished, she said it's 90% done. And it is going up somewhere where the parking lot of Roxy's is, I think it's on a music building there.
Yeah, it would be on the
Yeah,
music,
okay.
yeah.
I'm not too familiar with the area, but that's where that mural will be going. But when I said it has to contain the words Legacy Park in, St. Clements, we would like the year it's established, so we do need some writing or some words in there, and then we would throw out a few things. And I just thought at council that we could sort of suggest a few things for them to include on there. On the picture, like say something of, I thought of Highland dancers, they use that as something of soccer, something of baseball.
Yeah, and just for everybody's information, though, I'm gonna chime in, this Charles Johnston that they have here. If you people have looked on Manitoba Avenue, there's the mural with the indigenous,
Packers.
no, not at Packers, this is right on Manitoba Avenue, almost across from Roxy's.
By the Major Federation.
By the Métis Federation building, there's a big mural there. This Charles Johnston is the one who was instrumental in putting that on, and it is absolutely gorgeous.
He would actually be the one doing ours too.
I kind of figured that, because I know he's doing quite a few of those in Selkirk, and he's from the area. I met him when they were doing the opening or the unveiling of that one on the Métis Federation building, so, yeah.
Anyway, she was going to put, they're putting in for another grant, and one of them that they're doing is endangered species. They'll be the first one in Canada to have such a mural, and they're going to group the three of them together. So when I said that it has to say something of Legacy Park, she goes, that's one of our categories. So she said it fits perfect, so she's going to fit it into this next grant that's coming out. So she needs a letter of support from us that we support the three murals going in, and she's also going to get a letter of support she needs from Selkirk.
In addition, in her email, she says, in the St. Clements budget, if you could request $5,000, would be great.
And that pays for the paint?
That's part, like their total cost is $15,000 to $20,000. They'll be seeking additional funding support that. And that's what I thought.
Rob and then Scott.
Yeah, and it's also a nice touch for East Selkirk. My father-in-law's band, he's passed away now, but that's his band that's playing there.
Oh,
So
nice.
having that mural in East Selkirk at Legacy Park is incredible.
Okay, that mural's not going at Legacy Park. That one is the one that's going by Roxy's there in the parking lot.
Oh, this isn't going at Legacy
Yeah, no,
Park.
that's the one that's
right.
being finished up right now.
That's what I thought you were saying, but it's
Yeah.
going to Legacy
No,
Park.
that's the one, she just sent me an example of what the work is that,
Got it.
we'd have to give her stuff, that's why we said
Ah.
like baseball, soccer, and I told her it has to have some wording in it, it can't just be a picture too. Nice.
So this,
Go
the way I
ahead.
understand it is this is going in Selkirk on Manitoba Avenue.
Yes, that's according to what Sandra just said, like where Roxy's parking lot is now.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
The building, I guess it would be the building to the west, because Sandra said on the side of the music building, and that's where there's
That's where
a,
that mural will be put.
yeah, that's where this mural is going on that building.
Okay, and we're funding it.
No, we're
because-
not funding this one, the one we're
Sample.
funding is going to be at Legacy Park.
Okay, now I'm getting it. Okay.
And
No,
Legacy
this was just
over
a
here.
sample of the
Yes.
mural that they're doing, or a mural that will be done,
Good,
so.
thank you.
yeah. Yeah.
The thing is with this too, this is mortgages that puts the, for Candace.
Yes.
So which are
Yes.
residents in our area, and there is a $500, well, you can go on to the next thing, the $500.
Well, wait, Scott had a question.
Okay, sorry.
Park if you need to.
So I don't have a problem, provided that they're going to fill out a grant application like our policy requires.
Okay.
Okay, I'll tell them to.
I think would you support giving them a support letter and letting them know in that letter that they must fill out this grant application to get the money?
Exactly.
Okay.
So
Now, is
maybe
that
some
the-
farmers' fields or tractors or grain elevators and maybe.
Is that the consensus of council? We'll give them a
Oh, just give me a
support-
suggestion.
No,
one
no, a
suggestion.
support, I'm not talking about the picture, I'm
Oh,
talking
support,
about the
yeah.
letter, support letter,
Yeah.
and then
Sure.
DPAC will tell them they need to make a grant application to get that money. So, and we can do anything, and when Sandra and I were talking about it, I also suggested that, you know, there's lots of activity going on in Lockport, or will be going on in the very near future with the road and the bridge and everything else. And I kind of said, well, wouldn't it be good if we could find a wall in Lockport to put a mural on also? I thought that would be kind
Sure.
of neat too, but we just kind of, it was just kind of a thought, we never talked anymore about it. So, okay, so direction is to send them a support letter with the request that they must fill out a grant application.
I don't know what, I'll support it.
Dave would like to support a mural in Lebo on the side of my shop, and I'm gonna step out for
They'll
that.
step out.
Well, you know what made us think about it is because Red River North Tourism, they do tours of these murals, just like Interlake does of the barn quilts, right? So there's one at the boot on the side of the building, so, like, you know, just to bring people over into the East Selkirk area, so we can, and having a Lockport would be a great idea too.
Yeah, because that would make like a loop, if they ever have those tours again, so.
So do I have the resolution ready, Madam Mayor?
Okay,
Resolved, council authorize administration to provide letter of support to the Interlake Art Board for the Legacy mural at the East Selkirk Legacy Park.
okay, can I have a mover, please? Counselor Sutherland, Counselor Strang seconds, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question, all those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, the next item is the tax sale date. I think we have a date picked for our next tax sale, if there is a resolution, please.
Resolved, council change the meet, oh, sorry. Tax sale date. This is here we go. Whereas section 3652 of the Municipal Act provides the council may in any year designate immediately preceding year or any earlier year as the year of which properties, the taxes in respect of which are the arrears for that year must be offered for sale by auction to recover the tax sale arrears and cost. Be it resolved that the designated year for which the properties in arrears be offered for sale by auction be 2020, meaning all properties with outstanding taxes for the year of 2019 or prior. And be it further resolved that in accordance with section 3631 of the Municipal Act, costs shall be actual costs incurred by the municipality for each parcel listed for the tax sale plus an administration fee of $50 per roll as set forth in the Manitoba Regulation 50-97. And be it further resolved that the tax sale be held December 8, 2021 at 12 p.m. at the Road Municipality in St. Clements Council Chamber.
Okay, can I have a mover? Counselor Bazarowicz, Counselor Spicer seconds, discussion. Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, and the last one under this section of our agenda is the change in time for our next regular council meeting on April the 13th.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Resolved, council changed the meeting time of April 13, 2021, regular meeting of council from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Sutherland, Counselor Bazarowicz seconds, discussion. Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and carried. Okay, so now we'll have that budget meeting on the 12th in the morning. And then the regular council meeting will be at 2 o'clock.
The following day, yes.
Great.
So the 12th, we're getting lunch and supper.
Breakfast.
So 12th is at 9:30, right?
12th at 9:30, yes. And I would say probably till 2 anyways, depending on, you know, how, I don't know if we have another budget meeting next week, what will be left for the 12th, or what is your plan right now, Deepak?
There will be several items left for the 12th. Our budget meeting next week is on April the 6th, and possibly a special meeting of council on April the 6th. And we are looking at hopefully getting all those items discussed, and by the 12th, I'm hoping that we can have some items, the outstanding items, and a review of the draft, if we can.
Okay. Anything else on any of those meeting dates? We're all good with those? Okay, so the next item, we're moving down to section 7 on our agenda, which is the accounts and the financial statements. And first item is our closed list of accounts for the period ending March the 30th. So if you have a resolution for that, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Resolved, council approved the March 30th, 2021 list of accounts, check numbers 2100468 to 2100609 in the amount of $374,417.26 for payment.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Counselor Spicer, Counselor Boulanger seconds. Any discussion or questions or anything like that on the list of accounts? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, the next one is the tax roll account balance adjustments. And there's a list of some cancellations there for some outstanding balances. And Deepak, if you just want to explain that for council.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. What this is that when there's a balance outstanding of $25 or less due to various circumstances, sometimes penalties or other circumstances, council will, as opposed to putting that into the tax sale process, be able to adjust the balance on those particular accounts. That requires resolution. The list of the cancellations are there, and what we have is a resolution to do that.
Okay, any questions on the process? Okay, you can go ahead and read the resolution, thank you.
Whereas administration has reviewed the outstanding balances of the tax roll as of March 30th, 2021, And whereas there exists outstanding accounts with balances less than $25, and such balances have been reviewed and determined to be penalties only, and whereas it is deemed more efficient to eliminate these small balances, therefore be it resolved that outstanding balances in the amount of $261.45 be canceled.
Mover, please. Counselor Gazaroa, second. Counselor Horbis, discussion. Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
That's for 1 year, 261, so every year we have to vote on it.
Every year, we have to vote on this, and we have to make the decision by March, beginning of March.
Okay.
Usually the last conference council.
Goes into bad debts.
Okay, so the next one we have is our bylaws. Oh, go ahead, Heather, please.
Can we just have a few minutes to get Tyler to connect?
Oh,
He's
sure.
waiting to.
Okay, I have to connect on myself on Zoom. I don't know if I have that Zoom meeting on my.
On your calendar. Should be.
Okay, we'll just have a pause for a couple minutes while Deepak and Tyler both get on Zoom so that if we have any questions on any of these or if there's any other information that Tyler wants to share with us, they'll be available.
We're not recording this, are we? No, right now.
Is it paused?
The actual live right now, I can stop that for a moment. Should I shut that off for a
Please
second?
pause.
Okay.
Let us know when we're paused. Thank you. Please.
I think his assistant, that's Shreese, I think that's my niece.
I'm pretty sure it is.